Hi, it's Dr. Lori. I'm back with more real bargains. That's right. These are the bargains people are finding at thrift stores, antique malls, all over. And you can find them too. Take notes of what I tell you about. This episode, costume jewelry, mid-century modern lamps, and Prada shoes are only some of the real bargains that people found. Just like you, take notes and write it down or put it on your phone. And as you're shopping at the estate sale, at the thrift store, at the flea market, wherever you are, here's the map. Look for these particular items. That's what these people are doing. They're following me and they're following my roadmap. Okay, let's get started. Everybody gave me permission to retell their stories. And this first real bargain comes from a mother and daughter. Mom bought these and handed them down to her daughter. She bought the lot. I got this from a video call. A video caller called me and said, hey, Dr. Lori, I'm interested in knowing a little bit more about these particular pieces. I know that they are Kenneth Jay Lane costume jewelry prototypes. And actually, this particular caller actually had the prototypes and it also had some of the receipts from the fabricator. So there's a factory in Rhode Island that's fabricating these pieces for the designer, Kenneth Jay Lane, very well-known costume jewelry designer. And in fact, had the receipts of when he just began really his career, started to work in costume jewelry himself. From the 1960s into the 1970s, they're really nice examples. Figural, pins, brooches, all different kinds of figural pieces. I mean, just feast your eyes on how cool these are. And they're very collectible. So the video caller was excited. She had an idea, of course, of what she had. And her mother had handed them down. Her mother paid $200 for the lot. And her mother was annoyed when she got the lot. And she said, until she realized what she had. So she opened the box. She sees all of these things. And she thinks, what did I buy? Till she realizes that she got Kenneth Jay Lane pieces. So the prototypes are always very rare and desirable. And they're always valuable. How valuable, you ask? For her $200 investment, the video caller was able to amass a very nice collection. There's about 75 pieces here, and on average, they're worth about $300 a piece. So $300 a piece because there aren't any other ones like it. And you've got, of course, the information, which is of the history, which is what many collectors like and want. That idea here, what's the value for the whole set? $22,500 for a $200 costume jewelry investment. I've been telling you about costume jewelry. I've been telling you the list of the different makers that you need to look for. Write it down and get the list. So this was a beautiful example. It's a real bargain for sure. This next real bargain comes from my class. That's right. You can attend my class too. They're a lot of fun. And the Dr. Lori class member actually said, Dr. Lori, I have found what I need to do. I understand what the concepts you've been teaching. It made me very happy. I got to tell you, it made me happy. She said, I'm understanding the concept. I know what to look for. I know how to identify the value, and I just replicate it. I know how to see the quality because you're teaching me. Look at this squash blossom necklace. She purchased it online. She purchased it online at one of the online platforms, and she said, I knew what to look for because a lot of times people are giving the information is incorrect. I'm starting to identify it by the picture. So I'm understanding that, they might just write silver necklace, and I don't look for something like squash blossom because a lot of times a seller doesn't know that it's a squash blossom necklace. I don't know. They're not watching this channel, I guess, if they don't know. But she found this squash blossom necklace, sterling silver, 24 inches long. What's a squash blossom necklace? Well, it's a very famous Native American form. It's made by the Navajo. It's made by the Zuni. Many of the Native American peoples will actually work in this particular design element. And you can see usually it has an inset stone or shell, and then it has sterling silver, as this example does. And the sterling silver, of course, shows the blossom. There are multiple blossoms, and then it has an arched or a horseshoe-shaped Naha pendant at the bottom, which also highlights with a bigger set stone or shell. In this case, it's mother of pearl set in sterling silver, 24 inches long, and this squash blossom necklace is a beautiful example in great condition. My student, my class member, she got it for $129. What's it worth? It dates to the latter part of the 20th century, and it's worth get ready, $2,500. That's right, people are making big mistakes with their listings. And that was an example where someone found a real bargain. This next real bargain comes from a video call. And I always love when I see the video caller and there's a mother and a daughter, or there's a husband and a wife, or there's two partners, or whoever's doing the treasure hunting with you. I think that's cool. So this is a wonderful video call. She got this at the thrift store. She was in the Salvation Army, and she says she does a last walkthrough. I don't know, a lot of you tell me that you do that. You do a last walkthrough, like you go shopping and you do your shopping, then you say, well, I wonder if I missed anything, if they put anything out while I was shopping somewhere else, and you do a last walkthrough. Well, she saw this box, which is a Po Shun Leong box, and she saw it at the bottom shelf in the thrift store, tucked away kind of far back, and she noticed the wood carving, and she noticed the contrasting colors or the contrasting stain. And she pulled it out, she dug under there, she bent over, and I give her a lot of credit for bending down and getting it, because I know a lot of us go, oh, it's too hard to get it, I'm not bothering with that. I do that sometimes. But basically, she went under there and she got the box and she pulled it forward and she said, wow, it's wonderfully constructed. I wonder what it is. She saw that it was signed, but she wasn't sure what the signature was. The signature is kind of hard to read, but with a lot of research and a lot of searching, she actually did find the signature, and then I was able to help her confirm the information during our video call. So the piece, of course, is a Po Shun Leong box. It's constructed. It opens up multiple ways. It is beautifully done. It has multiple types of colored stains and, of course, different contrasting woods. It's done by this particular artist, who's an English artist, architect, and construction artist. So he constructs different objects. And he's been living in California since the 80s, and in fact was an artist who produced this work pretty early in his career. His works and his boxes, he's known for his boxes, but his boxes are much more significant and much more decorated now than they were then. So having an early career work is really pretty exciting, because you don't always get those. A lot of the times artists will keep those in their studios and not allow those to be sold. So this is an early work. It's a beautiful example and really wonderfully done. So I said during the video call, I said, you know, whatever made you get it? She said, it just looked so unusual and interesting to me. I wanted it. So she goes up and she pays, get ready, $7.99 at the thrift store. I know, you're all saying, oh, there's nothing at the thrift store. Dr. Lori's telling all the thrift store people, and now they're jacking up all the prices. Come on! There's a lot of great stuff out there. This is a perfect example. $7.99 is what she paid at the thrift store. What's it worth? It's a beautiful work of art, and value on it, $3,500. That's right, it's a signed, beautiful art object, and of course by a major artist. It's a real bargain too. This next real bargain comes from an online appraisal report where you submit a photo to me and then you ask me to do an online appraisal report for you. Well, this client went to a thrift store and she went with her boyfriend and she saw these lamps. These two 39-inch tall lamps. They're marked Stiffel. The boyfriend sees them and says, they're ugly. What have I been telling you? Ugly is your first clue to value. And he knew it because he said, they might be worth something. They're that ugly. Interestingly enough, they are worth something. They're a real bargain. Here's what they are. They're Stiffel lamps with the original Stiffel lamp shades. They date, of course, to the mid-century modern era, and they are extremely popular pieces with what are called faux ostrich egg bases. So those round white bases are faux ostrich eggs. They're trying to look like that. They're in the Hollywood Regency style of the mid-century modern time period. And basically what they are they marked Stiffel on the shades and they're marked Stiffel on the actual lamps too. They're a pair. If you can get a set, get a set. I always tell you, get a set. Try to keep them intact. It's got reticulated cast metal work at the base and also that sort of design above the ostrich eggs. And it's really in terrific condition. They also are in working order. Now, my online appraisal client said, you know, I'm probably going to rewire them. Remember, be careful of the color of the actual wire and the plug when you rewire pieces. But sometimes you want to rewire these pieces to have for safety purposes. They're beautiful condition. They're wonderful. What did she pay? She paid $8 for the pair. That's right, $8 for the pair. She said when she saw them, she wasn't leaving them there. What are they worth? $450 for the pair. They're a real bargain too. This next real bargain comes from Dr. Lori's class. And my class member said, Dr. Lori, I got this at the Goodwill thrift store. I saw it on the end of an end cap, one of the end of those shelves. And she said, I saw it, I grabbed it, I didn't look at the price, I didn't care, I was taking it. I grew up in Florida, it looked like a shell to me, and I was going home with the studio art glass, blown glass shell bowl. And I said, well, I don't blame you. You know, certain things just relate to you and you're like, I like that. I always have that feeling about fish. If it's a fish, I want it. You know, that's how I am. But I can understand what she's saying with this. This was an interesting story. So she sees it, she gets it, and she does some research. You all do this. You all do this. You go online, you look here, you look there, you search and search and search. You spend all kinds of hours searching, and then you go, okay, I'm not getting the information I need. I got to go to Dr. Lori. Fine. However you do that, that's fine. So she's in the class, she's talking about this, and she said, but the information that I found online, one site said, I found a similar one on one site and it said it was Polish. I found a similar one on another site and it said it was Italian. I found a similar piece on another website and they said that it was American made. I found another one, so she's finding these all over. I found a price that said it was worth $24. I found another price that said it was worth $300. And I found another price that said it was worth $2,000. I don't know what to do. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I've been telling you what to do. I've been telling you how I can help you. I've been telling you that you have to consider your source and you have to look at the whole market. The $24 number isn't right. And of course, the $2,000 number isn't right either. It's not Polish. It's not American. It's Italian glass. But you have to first properly identify the piece. So all of you who say to me, oh, Dr. Lori, I don't need an appraisal, right? Oh, because you're talking about value. The identification is part of the appraisal too, and that's what she needed so she could identify, of course, and I could help her with the value. It's an Italian piece of blown glass. It's a beautiful shell. It's very popular and very typical of glassmakers near Venice who are making these types of pieces. It was big too. It's 20 inches across. It's a big, big bowl. Perfect condition, sitting on the end cap at the thrift store. And this particular piece she got out of the thrift store and she paid $20 for it. What was it worth? $400 was my appraised retail value based on sales where similar pieces have sold. All those other numbers? Incorrect. That's a real bargain too. This next real bargain comes from a sweetheart who was in my class. The Dr. Lori class takes place, and I hope you'll join one of the classes too. You learn as much from, of course, what we do and seeing all the objects during the class, and also I'm there for 2 hours to answer all your questions. A couple of different things happened at this particular time when this class member went to the Goodwill bins. She was searching through the Goodwill bins and she said, I just saw this shoe and I thought maybe I should pursue this. I couldn't believe that in the Goodwill bins I could find such good quality shoes. Now, a lot of people are looking for shoes and a lot of people are looking for Prada shoes, and that's what this class member found. She found a pair of Prada shoes. That's right, in the Goodwill bins. Now you're all going, oh, I wish I could find Prada shoes in the Goodwill bins. Well, they were marked. They're beautiful tooled leather. They're in great condition, she said, and they even had the shoe laces. They're wonderful. Here's the problem for most of us ladies. They're men's shoes. They date to the middle 20th century, but they're still a real bargain for anybody, man or woman. They're really beautiful. They're in great condition. And of course, they were together. She had to hunt a little bit, but they were pretty close together when she found them in the Goodwill bins. So these particular shoes are in very nice condition. And what's nice about them is the pattern. Look at the pattern. Look at the way in which the leather is actually worked. And look at the places where the shoe would normally be broken or worn out around the top of the toes, right? Near the baby toe or near the big toe. Usually you start to see the leather come away from the actual sole. Not happening with this pair. She went and she said, I'm buying these shoes. I think I can resell them. I'll have to ask Dr. Lori at the class, and ask me she did. She bought them for $9.99 or just under $10. at Goodwill from the bins. They, of course, were done by weight, so they were somewhat heavy. They're marked Prada right inside of them, and the mark even shows that they weren't worn very much. Value on them, $250 for the pair, and that includes the shoelaces. That's a real bargain, too. This next real bargain comes from Dr. Lori's class. This was a class member who went to Habitat for Humanity's thrift store. Lots of people find a lot of things there. I find that a lot of my clients will tell me that they find a lot of architectural salvage there at Habitat for Humanity, sometimes clothes, sometimes art, lots of frames. And frames were just what my class member was looking for. She was looking for silver frames at the thrift store, and she actually ended up finding silver frames, not in the best of condition, but what she found in the silver frames are what interested me. She found 3 photographs when she was digging through a box that had silver frames in it. So they're wooden frames with a silver color, and she wanted them for something else in her home. And these silver frames had photographs in them. Photographs of hands, photographs of the very famous sculpture by Rodin of the kiss, of the 2 figures kissing, and photographs, in fact, that were gelatin silver prints, which is a fancy term for black and white photography. Black and white photographs with an artist's name on them and the address of his studio as well on the back. Albert Rodomini is a very well-known artist and photographer of course, the early years of the 20th century. And his work is best known for the works that he took of images of Rodin's famous sculptures, the French sculptor. So he takes these photographs and then he makes other photographs that relate to things like, of course, the hands of life and God's hands, and this idea of just very, very specific human figures and figures that would actually tell more of a story. They're beautiful abstract pieces. They're very highly regarded modern photographs. Somebody didn't know that they were valuable, and somebody didn't know that they, in fact, shouldn't have been in some box with some old frames at the thrift store. But this is what happens. So she was going out. She was going to buy them. She liked them very much. She said, I need the frames anyway. I think the photographs are interesting. They're not in the best of shape, these frames, but I'm going to buy them. How much are they? So there was a volunteer there who said, oh, you're going to buy those creepy photographs? Really? And my class member said, I don't think they're creepy at all. I think they're beautiful. Well, they certainly are beautiful, and the art market thinks they're beautiful too. She paid $2 for each one of these, so $6 for these particular pieces and the frames. And the frames are not great, but the photographs are. And she paid $6 for 3 of these photographs in their frames. And what are they worth? Market value for Rodomini's photographs today, $2,000 per photograph. That's right. So $6,000 total for this real bargain from the thrift store. If you don't think the stuff is out there, you better think again. I hope you made a list for yourselves of what to look for when you're out and about. I'm Dr. Lori. That's Real Bargains. I hope you find your real bargain real soon.